India, the endless story. India. It is not just a country on the map, it is an entire world condensed into one landmass. A land where the Himalayas scrape the heavens, deserts burn under the sun, rivers weave like veins through fertile plains, and oceans cradle both ancient legends and modern ambitions. To describe India in a single breath is impossible. It is too vast, too layered, too paradoxical. Every time you think you've grasped it, India reveals another side, a different language, another festival, a contradiction that somehow makes perfect sense. This is the story of India, a civilization older than memory, a nation younger than many of its citizens' grandparents, and a place that continues to shape the future of humanity. A geography of extremes. India stretches over 3.2 million square kilometers, the seventh largest country on Earth. Its borders touch 6 nations, Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar, while Sri Lanka sits a whisper away across the Pak Strait. The north is crowned by the Himalayas, still rising each year as tectonic plates collide. Among these peaks stands Kangchenjunga, the world's third highest mountain, towering at 8,586 meters. The Himalayas are more than just mountains, they are lifelines. Nearly every major Indian river is born here, the Ganges, sacred to Hindus, the Yamuna, lined with historic cities, the Brahmaputra, swelling with monsoon rains. Below lies the Indo-Gangetic Plain, one of the most fertile regions on Earth, supporting over half of India's population. Crops of rice, wheat, sugarcane, and pulses stretch across the land, watered by irrigation canals that form the largest irrigated network in the world. Moving south, the landscape shifts to the Deccan Plateau, an ancient volcanic formation flanked by the western and eastern Ghats. These ranges create pockets of biodiversity, from rainforests to spice plantations. The Nilgiri Hills, the Cardamom Hills, and the lush Malabar coast produce pepper, cardamom, and coffee that have lured traders for centuries. Further west lies the Thar Desert, a vast expanse of sand dunes and scrub, where camels tread paths to old caravan towns. Close by, the Rann of Kutch gleams under the moonlight as one of the largest salt deserts on the planet. And then, scattered across the seas, India's island territories, the coral atolls of Lakshadweep, and the volcanic Andaman and Nicobar Islands. On Barren Island, the only active volcano in South Asia rumbles quietly. Deep in the forests of North Sentinel, the Sentinelese people live untouched by the modern world, fiercely defending their isolation. Borders, bridges, and disputes. India's political geography is as complex as its natural one. The country is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories, each with its own language, culture, and governance. The capital, New Delhi, is a city within a city, forming part of the National Capital Territory. Yet Mumbai, the maximum city, remains the largest urban hub and financial powerhouse. But India's map is never simple. Union territories reveal a patchwork of history. Puducherry still preserves French heritage in 4 scattered districts across the subcontinent. Daman and Diu were once Portuguese ports, while Chandigarh was designed in the 1950s by the Swiss-French architect Le Corbusier to replace Lahore as Punjab's capital after partition. Some regions remain politically sensitive. The Siliguri Corridor, a strip of land only 27 kilometers wide, is India's fragile link to the northeast. The 7 sister states, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura, are bound to the mainland only by this narrow passage. And then there is Kashmir. Once a princely state under a Hindu ruler, it became the focal point of conflict at independence in 1947. Today, it remains divided between India and Pakistan, with China controlling a portion as well. The line of control snakes across mountains and glaciers, guarded by soldiers on both sides. The Siachen Glacier, at over 6,000 meters altitude, is known as the highest battlefield on Earth. Yet in valleys below, ordinary families continue their lives, herding sheep, tending orchards, sending children to school, while artillery echoes in the distance. Nature and conservation. Despite its size and density, India remains a sanctuary for wildlife. The country has 104 national parks and more than 500 wildlife sanctuaries. Here roam Bengal tigers, Asiatic lions, found only in Gujarat's Gir forest, elephants, one-horned rhinoceroses, snow leopards, and gharials. The peacock dances as the national bird, while the Ganges River dolphin swims in sacred waters. India is also a leader in environmental efforts. In 2016, volunteers planted over 50 million trees in a single day, setting a world record. Ambitious reforestation programs aim to cover 33% of the country in green by 2030. A mosaic of peoples. India is home to over 1.4 billion people, nearly one-fifth of humanity. Around 72% are Indo-Aryan, 25% Dravidian, and the rest include Tibeto-Burman, Austroasiatic, and countless tribal communities. The census recognizes more than 2,000 ethnic groups and nearly 650 indigenous tribes. Language alone defies simplification. India has no official national language, but 22 are officially recognized. Hindi is the most spoken, but Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, Marathi, Gujarati, and Kannada all command tens of millions of speakers. English functions as a link, especially in education, government, and business. Religion defines much of daily life. Hinduism, practiced by about 80% of Indians, manifests in temples, festivals, and rituals across the country. Yet India is also the birthplace of Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. It houses the world's second-largest Muslim population, millions of Christians, ancient Jewish communities, and Zoroastrians who have lived here for over a millennium. This diversity has not erased unity. A Sikh in Punjab cheers for a Tamil cricket player, a Muslim family celebrates Diwali with Hindu neighbors, and across the diaspora, Indians of every background carry their traditions abroad, from Trinidad to Toronto, from Durban to Dubai. History in motion. The story of India is the story of civilization itself. The Indus Valley cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro flourished over 4,000 years ago, with advanced urban planning and trade networks. Later came the Mauryan Empire under Ashoka, who spread Buddhism across Asia. The Gupta Empire ushered in a golden age of science, mathematics, and art. For centuries, southern kingdoms like the Cholas and Vijayanagar built magnificent temples and maritime trade routes. The Delhi Sultanate introduced Persian architecture and culture, while the Mughal Empire left behind jewels like the Taj Mahal, Red Fort, and Fatehpur Sikri. The British arrived as traders and stayed as rulers, drawing railways and borders, but also sparking a freedom struggle that became one of the largest non-violent movements in history. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Subhas Chandra Bose, and Jawaharlal Nehru transformed the dream of independence into reality in 1947. Since then, India has grown into the world's largest democracy, a nuclear power, and a hub of technology and culture. Economic liberalization in the 1990s unleashed a wave of growth, turning Bengaluru into the Silicon Valley of Asia, and launching India's space program to Mars and beyond. Culture, food, and festivals. India's cultural influence is unmatched. Its film industry produces around 2,000 movies each year, not just Bollywood, but also Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, Malayalam, and more. Its music ranges from classical sitar ragas to modern pop and fusion. Literature spans epics like the Mahabharata to modern Nobel laureates like Rabindranath Tagore. Food is another unifier. India grows 75% of the world's spices, and its cuisine is as diverse as its geography. In the north, naan, roti, and rich curries dominate. In the south, dosa, idli, and coconut-laced stews flourish. The west is known for fiery pickles, the east for delicate sweets like rasgulla and mishti doi. Everywhere, rice remains a staple. Festivals paint the calendar in color and light. Diwali, the festival of lamps, illuminates entire cities. Holi bursts into clouds of powdered colors. Eid, Christmas, Vaisakhi, Onam, Durga Puja, each region celebrates with its own music, food, and rituals. And then there is cricket, the unofficial national religion. Stadiums fill with roaring crowds, and victories unite the nation across language and faith. Icons like Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli are as revered as ancient kings. India and the world. On the global stage, India balances tradition and modernity. It remains close to Russia, shares deep ties with Bhutan, and connects with a vast diaspora spread across Africa, the Caribbean, Europe, and North America. The United States is now a major partner, while China remains a rival in both trade and territory. India is a founding member of the United Nations, a key voice in the G20, and a spacefaring nation that has reached the Moon and Mars. With one of the world's fastest-growing economies, it is predicted to become a top-3 global power within decades. The endless story. India is not simply a country. It is a living epic, an experiment in unity amid chaos, a mosaic of contradictions that somehow holds together. It is ancient and modern, sacred and practical, fractious and united. To understand India is not to master it, but to accept its infinity. It is a civilization still writing itself, every day, in the laughter of children in crowded streets, in the chants of pilgrims on temple steps, in the roar of trains racing across plains, and in the silent growth of the Himalayas above. In the end, India is not a single story. It is millions of stories, woven together into the endless fabric of one nation.